This lesson is on polynomials and basic polynomial vocabulary that will be used throughout the rest of your math career, let alone the rest of this unit and of algebra. So we're going to start with learning some vocabulary. Monomial and polynomial are important for this unit, let alone every other math class that you're going to be taking. We've already learned the definition of a monomial earlier this unit, but let's go over it again. A monomial can be a number, it can be a variable, or it can be a product. Remember, that means multiplication of a number and one or more variables. So a monomial can be a number, it can be a variable, or it can be a product of those two things, a product of a number and a product of a variable. Then we have a polynomial. A polynomial is just a monomial or it can be a sum of monomials. Now remember, when we say sum, we do mean addition, but you have to remember that subtraction is just addition of negative numbers. So really, this sum means sum or difference. I don't want you to be limited to only seeing addition signs. Then we have special types of polynomials. There's a binomial and a trinomial. These are names of polynomials just like a monomial. A monomial is one. A binomial is the sum, remember sum or difference, the sum of two monomials. Finally, we have a trinomial. That's, hopefully you see tri, you think 3. It's exactly what it is. It's the sum of 3 monomials. So remember, monomial refers to 1, binomial refers to 2, trinomial refers to 3 terms. So looking at this example, or this set of examples, I want you to classify the following by the number of terms they have. Pause the video and try these 3 examples on your own. Okay, hopefully you saw 1, 2 terms, so you said that this was a binomial, which would be correct. In this one, we had 1, 2, 3 terms, so it was a trinomial. The last one, there's no addition or subtraction, it's all multiplication, so it's a monomial. If you got all 3 correct, congratulations. The next part of this lesson is learning what the degree of a monomial is. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the degrees of each individual variable. There are a couple of things we have to understand about this. First of all, what's a degree? A degree is essentially the exponent. So that's how I want you to think of this. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of each individual variable. This is the second thing I want you to understand. We are only talking about the exponents of variables. So if I give you an example, like 5x squared y cubed z, and I want to know what the degree is, we're going to look at the exponents of each variable. Well, here we have 2. And it's the sum, that means addition, so 2 plus 3. Now there's no exponent here, but what number is implied? Hopefully you're thinking 1, So we're going to include that one, plus 1. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So the degree of this monomial is 6. Add up all of the exponents, including the 1 if a variable has no exponent stated. So I want you to pause the video and try to state the degree of each of these following monomials. Okay, looking at these, we have 4 plus 3. Now there's a 1 implied, so plus 1 is 8. So the degree of this one is 8. Another notation that you might see sometimes is n. N does stand for degree. So you might see, at least me write, n equals 8. And you'll see that in other math courses, but it's not essential that you understand that right now. For the second one, we had 3, and remember that's a 1, so 3 plus 1 is 4. So the degree is 4. Finally, for the last example, we have 5. Remember there's a 1, so plus 1 plus 8. And the degree is 14. If you got all of these right, good job. You understand how to find the degree of a monomial. Now, even though we learned how to find the degree of a monomial, that's not the same thing as finding the degree of a polynomial. However, they do both incorporate with one another. So to find the degree of a polynomial, you need to first, so step 1, find the degree of each term. When I say find the degree of each term, I'm referring to find the degree of each monomial that makes up the polynomial. Next, you want the highest degree. The highest degree is the degree of the polynomial. I guess this isn't really a step, but it's important to note. The highest degree is the degree of the polynomial. So looking at an example, let's say I gave you 4x squared yz plus 7xy plus 9p to the 6th. You can see by step 1 that we need to first find the degree of each monomial. So here we have, for this first one here, we have 2 plus 1 plus 1, which is a degree of 4. For the second one, we have a 1 and a 1, which gives you a degree of 2. And finally, for the last one, we have a degree of 6. Well, the degree of the polynomial is the largest or highest degree given, which is this 6. So our degree is 6. The biggest mistake students make is to add up all of the degrees. Remember, that only happens when you're finding the degree of a monomial. The highest degree is the degree of a polynomial. So pause the video and try to state the degree of each of the following polynomials. Alright, so looking at this first example, we see the degree of our first term is 7. The degree of our second term, remember this is a 1, so 5 plus 1 plus 2 is 8. Then we have a 1 and a 1 here, so 4 plus 1 plus 1 is 6. And finally, 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. So this degree is going to be the highest one, which is 8. So the degree of the first polynomial is 8. For the second one, we have a degree of 1, so we have a total of 12. We have 7, and we have 9, because 5 plus 2 plus 2 is 9. Well, again, we want the highest degree, so n is going to equal 12. The degree of the second polynomial is 12. Finally, looking at this last one, we have a degree of 1 there, so we have 9. Then we have 3 plus 2 plus 1, which is 6. And then we have 1 plus 9, which is 10. 10 plus 11, which is 21. We want the highest degree, that's 21, so the degree of the third polynomial is 21. The last thing we're going to cover in this lesson is classifying a polynomial by its degree. So the first thing you have to do is find the degree of the polynomial. Remember, you have to add up the exponents of each monomial, degree of the polynomial. Add up the degrees of each monomial and then take the highest degree, and that's the degree of the polynomial. Then you're going to name the polynomial by its degree using the chart I'm just about to show you. So each degree has a name. I'll show you a chart. So you're going to find the degree of the polynomial and use the chart to state the name of the polynomial. So here we go. If there's a degree of 1, it's called a linear polynomial. These are the types of polynomials we've been dealing with all last semester. We won't really branch past linear, except in the very last unit of Algebra 1, we'll see polynomials with degree of 2, and those are called quadratics. So if you find the polynomial, if you find the degree of the polynomial, see that it's 2, it's called a quadratic. If the degree is 3, it's called cubic. And if the degree is 4, it's called quartic. Now there are names for other polynomials past 4, but I don't want you to worry about those. So if the degree is greater than 4, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you're just going to say that it has no special name. We're not going to worry about it. I only want you to know linear, quadratic, cubic, and quartic. Those are the most important to me. So looking at this, let's do one example together, and then I'm going to have you pause the video. So I want you to classify the polynomials by their degree. This first one, I see that the first term has a degree of 2, second one has a degree of 1, and remember I said that the degree only counts when you're finding the exponents of the variables. There are no variables in this last part, so the degree is 0. Well, to classify a polynomial by its degree, we take the highest degree, which is 2, so n equals 2. And then going back to that chart on the last slide, when it has a degree of 2, it's called a quadratic. So that is the name of this type of polynomial. Now I want you to pause the video and try the other 3 examples on your own. Okay, looking at this, we have a degree of 1 and a degree of 0. This is the highest degree, n equals 1, therefore it's called linear. With the next one, we see that we have 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This is my largest degree, n equals 4. This is called quartic. And lastly, looking at the other example, we have 3, 2, 1, 0. My degree is 3 because that's the highest, so this one's called cubic. Please know these names by heart. You need to memorize them. They are important. Finally, looking at one more example, I want you to pause the video and try to classify this polynomial by its degree. Okay, looking at it, we have 6, 3, 1, 0. 6 is my highest number, therefore n is 6. But remember, we said if the degree is larger than 4, this is going to be classified as having no special name. This will occur within this unit. This will occur within this unit, but you won't see it very frequently, so really you don't need to worry about the names.